Hi guys, you're on Illumination channel. Today I'll tell you how to play piquet. Piquet is it's a hard card game with with oh wait. Piquet is a point trick card game with combinations, and this card game is hard because it has a lot of rules, nuances, and it's pretty hard to keep in mind without writing every without writing the information into the paper sheet. So yeah, PK is one of the oldest card games because it was created in the end of the 13th century, and the game was made in France and was known as a game of French aristocrats. So yeah, the game is using a deck of 32 cards, which means that the twos, threes, fours, fives, and sixes are removed from the deck. The superiority of cards is 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, and Ace. The game is always played with only two players, and the objective is getting the most points in 6 rounds. After the sixth round, players are players are counting their points last time, and the player with the highest points wins, while their opponent loses. Deal. The dealer is determined by a drum, and the game is actually using the exact drum used in the card game President, which means that it's basically this. Then each player is getting a card, one card, and the player with the strongest card becomes the dealer. Also, oh wait, no. And each player is getting 12 cards with 2 cards at a time. And the the remaining deck, which is only 8 cards, is placed near the players, and after that, the first. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. The game the game is played with three three phases. The first phase is cards replacement. The second is combinations announcement, and the last third one is gameplay of tricks. So yeah. And before telling you about the first phase, I need to tell you about the older hand and the smaller hand. Older hand is the player with advantages, and I'll tell you a bit later what are those advantages. And smaller hand is basically the opposite of the older hand. So yeah, there and usually dealer's opponent is becoming a older hand in the first round, but there is also a variation where dealer is becoming a an older hand while their opponent is becoming a smaller hand. So yeah, cards replacement. Players are replacing their cards, and basically they're throwing out their most useless cards, at least one card, and basically they're replacing them with cards from the remaining deck. And 5 cards is the maximum amount of cards that players can replace, and basically, oh yeah, one of the first, basically the first advantage of the older hand, they are the first player replacing cards, and Also, there's another advantage they if they get rid of less than five cards, then they can look into the look at the suit, look at the suit and value of remaining cards. For example, they got 3 out of 5. That means they can look at 2 cards. If they got 2 out of 5, then they can look at 3 cards. So yeah, and the players after after replacing every card, after each player is replacing every card, the card's replacement ends, and the second phase second phase begins. I already told you the second phase is the combinations announcement. Basically, players are players are announcing all their combinations, and there's another advantage of the smaller of the older hand. They are the first player. They're the first player. First player announcing older combinations, while smaller hand is only is starting to announce only after older hand uh, will put their first card onto the surface, and while the older hand is announcing, smaller hand will only say that the combination is either stronger or weaker than their combination. So yeah. so uh, so the the card game piquet has 3 types of combinations. The first one is point, the second one is sequence, and the third one is group. Point is the suit in the hand that has the most amount of cards. For example, the player has 4 suits and 12 cards, but mm, but spades are having the most amount of cards. That means spades is the point, and the owner of spades will get 1 point for each card in the point. And, yeah, and so yeah. um, sorry for the summary. Yeah, point the and sequence. The sequence, the player. Oh yeah, sequence is the combination of cards that are basically making a sequence like like 7, 8, 9, Jack, Queen, King, and etc. This is basically like straight from poker Texas Hold'em. So yeah, and the sequence of 3 cards is giving 3 points. Sequence of 4 cards is giving 4 points. Sequence of 5 cards is giving 15 points. Sequence of 6 cards is giving 16 points. Sequence of 7 cards is giving 17 points. And finally, the sequence of 8 cards is giving 18 points. So yeah, that's how it works. Also, the if the combinations of point and sequence are equal, then the player will compare the points. And if the points are equal, then players are not getting points for the combinations. And yeah, combinations. The value of cards and points. Sevens are 7 is 7 points, 8 is 8 points, 9 is 9 points, 10 is 10 points. Jack, jacks, queens, and kings are 10 points, and aces are 11 points. 11 points. So yeah. Group. Group is is three or four cards of one rank, and basically it's like three jacks, four tens, and etc. Mm, the a group of three cards is called trio. The player will get 3 points for it, and the 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 group of four cards is called quartet, and the player will get 14 points for it. And also, the groups of sevens, eights, and nines are not giving points, so keep that in mind. Alright, after the after each player is done with announcing the combinations, the oh yeah, let's see the if players combinations are stronger, then they'll get points for them. But if they are weaker, then they will not get points for them. So you also need to keep that in mind. And what else can I say about this phase? Right, I think I told you everything about space. If I forgot something, I will tell you about that in the description of this video. Now we are moving to the third and last phase called gameplay of tricks or trick taking phase. Basically, players are just this is basically just the gameplay of a regular trick taking card game, which means that players are putting every card from their hand. The players must follow the suit. If they don't have the suit, they must put any card of their choice. The player with the highest card, with the player with the strongest card, is getting a trick and starting the new one. After each player will lose all their cards, the gameplay ends and the point counting begins for the phase. And there's also another probably the last advantage of the older hand. They are the first player putting a card onto the surface. And so yeah, the the players will get 1 point for putting the first card for yeah for every time they were putting the first card. 1 point for each opponent card. 1 point for the last trick, and 10 points for the majority of tricks, which is 7 or more. And finally, 12. Oh wait, no, 40 points for having 12 tricks, which is the maximum amount. That is actually that situation is called cap hold. So yeah, but that's not the what. So basically, that's it for the for the last trick taking phase. But we are not done about the game yet. There are three bonuses, and players can get points for them. The first bonus is called card flank, and basically it's the absence of jacks, queens, and kings. The player will get 10 points for it. Next we got peak. Peak is 30 points in the trick taking phase and 0 points and 0 points of the opponent in the round. The player will get 30 points for it. And finally, the last bonus, the last way to get points for players is repeat. Repeat is 30 points in the combinations phase and 0 points for the opponent in the round. The player will get 60 points for it. Also, if the player has the same amount of tricks, then they will not get 10 points. So yeah. Alright, I think I told you everything about this game. If I forgot something, you can tell me about that in the comments. Hope you now know how to play piquet. I hope you enjoyed and liked this video. and goodbye.